This episode of Bent Pedaling is brought to you by Catrike. Passion meets engineering. Made in the USA. Catrike, a 7-time winner of Trike of the Year. And by Austin's Easy Street Recumbent Bikes and Trikes since 1996, with annual rallies and events across Texas.
When my wife was injured in crashing her bike, we went looking for a safer bike for her and discovered Recumbents that way, and found a fellow who was selling them very small time in Austin, and picked up a bike for her, and I soon had to have one myself, so I got a bike for myself. And then he decided he was going to do something else, so we bought the operation off of him, mainly to keep ourselves supplied, and just out of the belief that this was something of value that people needed.
When I went to college, I joined the Baylor club cycling team, and they would do competitions, competition rides with other club teams from other schools. And so I bought myself a Specialized Tarmac, which is another upright bike, like racing carbon fiber bike, and had the aero bars and all that stuff. And rode that for several years until I was about 25, and I got diagnosed with herniated discs in my lumbar spine and was not able to continue riding an upright bike anymore. So I started doing research on recumbent bikes and trikes, because that was a whole new world to me. I finally decided on the cat bike Musashi, a purple one. And I decided on that one because it was a low profile. I'm kind of short, so getting on and off of it without feeling like I was doing a back bend was very important to me. And I just love the way it looks and rides, and that was 5 years ago, and couldn't be happier. I love it. It got me back on the road. When I was riding upright bikes, I did a lot of long distance riding, like the MS 150, and I was able to get back into doing those long distance rides, and I'm so much more comfortable. When I do those long rides, the only thing that's sore when I get off are my legs. My back doesn't hurt, my neck, wrists, all of that stuff that used to be really sore when I rode an upright bike. I'm so much more comfortable on the recumbent.
Oh, my wife used to be a real serious bike rider. She rode 100-mile rides and 60-mile rides, and she rode probably 150, 200 miles a week on a conventional diamond frame bike. Did that for years. And then she's got a bad knee from a serious break and growth malformation when she was a child. And back about 20 years ago now, she had to have leg surgery, and she's had back surgery, and she couldn't ride a conventional bike anymore. And that just really bummed her out terribly, because she loved to ride. Then about 10 years ago, I guess it was now, 2004, 2005, in the Houston paper, there was an article about this 92-year-old man who had completed the MS 150 ride. And he was 92 years old, had done 150 miles, Houston to Austin, riding a recumbent. And she said, if a 92-year-old man can do that, I can do that.
My wife was severely injured years ago in a horseback riding accident. So one of the things she lost, along with most of her vision and her hearing, is her sense of balance. So automatically, that took her out of regular bike riding.
I had a 5% chance to live. Woke up, I was in a coma for 16 days, and I woke up, I was totally blind and deaf. I did manage to get a little bit of sight back, but at 22, I went from being a swimmer and a cyclist and a horsewoman to having to learn how to walk again and everything else. And for 25 years, I was almost immobile because I had no balance after the accident. And it was infuriating.
And then somewhere along the line, on the internet, she saw this 3-wheeled thing called a trike.
And I went, what? And I said, I bet I can do that because I don't have to have balance because it's trike.
So immediately, she came to me and said, hey, we can ride again.
I test rode one, and from that moment on, everything changed. All of a sudden, it was like I had a huge chain lifted off of me because when I'm on a trike, I can ride like crazy. I'm still visually impaired and everything else, but with a little bit of care, I can go pretty well. Total night and day change with the Recumbent. Total. Wonderful.
So Friedreich's ataxia, FA for short, is the progressive rare neuromuscular disease that affects 1 in 50,000 Americans. Because balance and coordination is affected, walking becomes more difficult. You're defined in a wheelchair within 10 years of being diagnosed, typically. But a year after I graduated high school, I found about this ride taxi event that came to Dallas, and I tried out a recumbent tricycle. And by the looks of it, you know, I thought it was pretty silly looking. I didn't really want to try it out. It was for like little kids. But the moment I sat in it, it was a sense of freedom and independence that overwhelmed me. And I've been riding ever since, and it's been 2 years now. And every time I sit in that trike, it makes me push further and longer every single time. I'm just reminded of my purpose in life, and it's awesome. Yeah. There's a saying that we usually say, you know, I cannot walk around the block, but I can ride for miles and miles on my Recumbent trike.